Come closer, my children. Sit by the fire. Tonight, I will tell you a story from the heart of Nigeria. A story of joy and danger, of laughter and hidden darkness, of a town that danced, not knowing that shadows were dancing too. There was once a town called Eden. To the eyes of visitors, Eden was blessed. The markets overflowed with yams, peppers, and spices. The churches and mosques rang with songs of praise. Drummers filled the streets with music that made even the oldest people tap their feet. Every festival, masquerades in colored costumes danced through the roads. Lanterns lit the night sky like trapped stars, and children ran around laughing until their mothers dragged them home. Yes, Eden looked alive, but not every laughter is full. Some laughter is hollow, like a drum with a crack inside. In secret, dark beings moved through the town. They did not look like monsters with horns and fire. No, they looked like ordinary people, neighbors, friends, even family, but they lived by feeding on human joy. When a family celebrated a wedding, they fed. When a church sang loudly, they fed. When the town danced at night, they fed. Little by little, those they touched grew weak. First, the person's smile would fade. Then they would lose energy. Finally, they would fall sick, and no medicine could cure them. Doctors were confused. Herbalists shook their heads. Pastors and imams prayed, but the sickness continued. One by one, the people of Eden began to die. Still, the town kept dancing. Still, they sang, for humans are stubborn in joy, even when shadows follow behind. At last, the cries of Eden reached the heavens. The old gods of the land gathered under the eternal silk cotton tree. Amadioha, god of thunder, said, "These people have forgotten us." Allah, god of the earth, whispered, "They are still our children." Ekwesu, the trickster, laughed. They danced into the danger with open eyes. But Shuku, the great one, spoke with calm power. "We cannot leave them. They must be saved." And so it was agreed. 3 protectors would be sent to Eden, not mighty warriors with swords, not priests with staffs, but 3 young women clothed in beauty and mystery. Their work would be secret. Their tools would be needle and thread. One morning, the people of Eden woke to see a new fashion shop at the edge of Akbala Road. No one had seen it built. No one knew who owned it. But there it stood, shining with fresh paint and glass. The sign above the door read, "Midnight Threads." Inside, 3 women worked, Ngozi, Ifunanya, and Adugo. To the townspeople, they were just seamstresses. They designed the latest dresses, agbadas, and suits. Their hands moved quickly. Their eyes sparkled with wisdom. They often sang old songs while they walked. But what the people did not know was this: every stitch they sewed carried power. Every garment they made held prayers, symbols, and blessings. Whoever wore their clothes was safe from the shadows. One evening, just as the sun was setting, a man named Obina entered the shop. His face looked tired, his body weak, and his laughter empty. "My sisters," he said softly, "I hear you make clothes that give life. I need something, anything to make me feel whole again." Ngozi looked into his eyes. She saw the shadow following him. She did not speak, but her sisters understood. A dark force had been feeding on him. "Sit, Obina," said Infunaya gently. "We will make something special for you." Adugo measured him carefully as her needle touched the cloth. She hummed an old tune her grandmother once sang to keep away evil. The needle glowed faintly under the lamp. When Obina finally left, dressed in his new agbada, he felt lighter. That night, for the first time in months, he slept peacefully. But the shadows were watching, and shadows do not easily release what they claim. When Obina woke the next morning, he stretched his arms and felt strong again. His mother clapped her hands in surprise when she saw him smiling. "Obina, my son, is this truly you?" she asked, tears filling her eyes. "Yes, Mama," he laughed. "I feel like myself again." Word spread quickly. Soon, people whispered in the markets, "Have you heard? Obina was almost gone. But after buying from Midnight Threads, he is well again." Women at the hair salons, men at the beer parlor, Even the elders at the square began to talk about it. Customers rushed to the shop asking for clothes that could make them shine the way Obinna did. Ngozi, Ifunanya, and Adugo worked day and night. Their machines hummed like bees. Their needles flashed like lightning, and their songs floated out into the street like sweet smoke. But each time they sewed, they knew the truth. Every garment was a shield, every stitch a battle against the unseen. The dark ones were not happy. In corners of the town, in places where light did not reach, they gathered. They steal our food, one hissed. They protect the ones we marked, another growled. Who are these women? Where did they come from? They decided to watch. If they could not touch the seamstresses directly, they would search for their weakness. And so, strange things began to happen. At night, cats with burning eyes lingered by the shop. Dogs barked and refused to pass the building. Some customers said they heard whispers in the fabric while it was being cut, but the women kept walking. They were not afraid. One afternoon, a young woman named Amaka entered the shop. Her wedding was only 2 weeks away. "Please, sisters," she said shyly, "make me the most beautiful gown in Eden. I want to shine brighter than the moon on my wedding day." Adugo smiled warmly. "You shall have it, Amaka. But remember, true beauty is not in the gown, but in the heart." Still, the sisters poured all their strength into the dress. They sewed pearls into the sleeves, laced charms into the seams, and whispered blessings into the folds. When Amaka tried it on, she glowed with joy. "Ah, I feel like a queen," she cried. But far away, a shadow hissed, "The bride is ours. We will not let her go." The night before Amaka's big day, she lay in bed, her wedding gown hanging by the window. Suddenly, the room grew cold. The lamp flickered. A shadow slid across the wall. Amaka shivered. She tried to pray, but her lips felt heavy. The gown shined softly in the moonlight. As the shadow reached for her, the gown began to glow brighter, like fire wrapped in silk. The shadow hissed in pain and vanished through the wall. Amaka gasped for breath. She knew something had tried to take her, but she also knew she was safe. She clutched the gown and whispered, "Thank you, midnight threads." A few weeks later, Eden prepared for its grand festival, the Festival of Drums. Every year, the whole town gathered. Drummers beat rhythms that made hearts race. Drummers twirled in colorful wrappers, and masquerades filled the streets with mystery. But this year was different. The shadows are gathered. They loved the noise, the dancing, the careless laughter. To them, it was a feast. The seamstresses knew danger was near. They stood together in their shop, watching the crowd through the window. Ngozi spoke softly. "The demons are hungry tonight. They will strike when the drums are loudest." Ifunanya nodded. "We must be ready." Adugo lifted her needle, its tip shining like a star. "Then tonight, our battle begins."